Hi, come on in. I'm so glad you came to visit today. It makes me so happy to see you. I hope you're doing well. And I just wanted to let you know, if you hear some sound effects today, they're working on our street, and my dog takes offense to anyone being on her property, which is as far as her eye can see. So if you hear some barking, it's just Candy. Also, just let's get some housekeeping out of the way before we begin our chat. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm happy to have you. Please hit the subscribe button below and the bell if you want to be notified when I post a new video. There's nothing stopping you from pressing the button, okay? No one will contact you. You are under no obligation, and it's free. Thank you. Also, please feel free to leave a comment. Any questions, I'll be happy to answer them, okay? The comments make me feel like we're communicating, all right? So, into the video we go. So today, I'm going to try to do soft-spoken, maybe even a little whispering, but the main thing I want to do is talk about some life experiences and maybe give some big sister, favorite aunt, mother figure advice, okay? I know I'm a little older than most of the ASM artists, but you know, I own my age. I'm going to be 56 in about a month, and I've learned a lot in those 56 years. And I'd like to share some of that with you, some advice, and maybe help you to not make some mistakes I made. Although I do own all of my mistakes, and I'm a firm believer in it's only a mistake if you don't learn from it. Otherwise, it's a lesson. And every lesson helps us to become better people, okay? Nobody is perfect. There is no such thing as perfection, except God. And that's my belief, okay? I'm not telling anyone else what to believe. I'm just telling you what I believe, okay? When my daughter was young, just in kindergarten, actually, she had a teacher I did not care for, but she was very fond of saying, "Come on, children, practice makes perfect." And I was very careful about not wanting perfect people because that leads to some problems. And my friend that I worked with at the time, she's since retired, Marilyn, amazing, amazing person, far ahead of her time and really, really in tune with people. One of the best listeners I've ever met. And she had a saying, instead of saying practice makes perfect, she would say practice makes permanent. And rather than, tell my daughter, no, it's permanent, not perfect, I just started saying it. And it took a while, but eventually she picked it up. And I noticed a couple of her friends were picking it up too. And it helped with she was taking guitar at the time, and she's like, if I practice, this is going to become mine permanently. She no longer cared about it being a perfect note for note. She cared that it belonged to her, that she would always know how to play this song. So I like that to be my first bit of advice. The other part I'd like to tell you about is don't be so hard on yourself. I find that we, and I know that men watch ASMR too, and I completely include you in all of this, but I do find that women are hardest on ourselves and each other. If you disagree with me, let me know. I'm not that kind of person. If I love dialogue, I love hearing other people's points of view. It's how we learn from each other, because that's the thing. You are everyone's teacher, and everyone is your teacher. We all have something to learn from each other, okay? And what you learn and what you teach is entirely up to you. Does that make sense? Yeah? Good. So, one thing we need to work on, and we've talked about this before, but is self-care. And I mentioned before that the first time I ever heard self-care, I thought it was horrible. I thought how selfish and self-centered. We're not supposed to put ourselves first. Well, guess what? We are. Not first as a priority, but we need to take care of ourselves, because the better we take care of ourselves, the more we have to give to others. So if you're a giver, think about that. The more you take care of yourself and make sure you're taken care of physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, you are now able to give to others better, okay? The worst thing we can do is give everything we've got, because then we have nothing left to give, and we have nothing to take care of ourselves. That was my dog. The next thing I'd like you to really think about is, it goes along with not being so hard on yourselves. I know everyone says make goals, plan ahead. Everybody who talks about this 5-year plan, no. I love that I saw a comedian and that she said, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And she said, I suppose a mirror? That made sense to me. I liked it. Don't look at the big goals. You know, you can have a big goal in the back of your mind, but just set yourself smaller goals, achievable goals. If you set yourself up unachievable goals, you're setting yourself up to fail. And that will just lead to more hard feelings on yourself and being harder on yourself. As I mentioned before, I used to have another channel. I deleted it, but it was called My Weight Loss Journey, because I'm trying to lose weight, and I have. I lost 100 pounds, and then I posted about it. And in the back of my mind, I knew I was self-sabotaging myself, because for some reason, I felt the need I had to disappoint people. Not consciously, but subconsciously. I've done a lot of self-reflection and learned that about myself. So I ended up gaining back 70 pounds, and I now only have 20 more to go to get to the original 100. So actually 18, let's be. But what I do is I don't look at the big goal anymore. I look at it as increments of 20s, 15s, sometimes even 5. Sometimes I just want to get under a certain number, okay? And maybe someday I'll be confident enough to say the number out loud, and that might help other people. But for right now, I'm not that confident. And there's nothing wrong with saying that. It's the same as when people ask you your opinion on something, or how do you feel about this? It's okay to say, I don't know. I remember we were at a group for work, and somebody said to me, Kim, what do you think of this? And I said, to be honest, I don't know enough about it yet to form an opinion. I said, but I'm listening to all of you and I'm learning. And the gentleman that was running the group put down his pen, looked at me for the longest time to the point I was uncomfortable. And he said, congratulations, you are the first person in these groups that have had the courage to say they didn't know something. And I really appreciated that. I felt good about it. And afterwards I thought, wow, I feel good about not having an opinion. But it's okay. You don't have to know everything. You know what your feelings are. You know how to listen. And I find listening is very important. That's another piece of advice I'd like to give you that someone gave to me years ago, was we have 2 ears, 1 mouth. It means we're supposed to listen twice as much as talk. And I really like that. And I do try to listen. And I have talked about when you're in a disagreement with someone, and in case you've missed that video, I'll just repeat it briefly. We went into more depth in the video before. I think it was my first one. But it is a mantra that I do live with, and it came from Montel Williams years ago. And it was, when you're talking, when you're arguing, speak without offending. That we can do. Here comes the hard part. Listen without defending. Because if you're already defending yourself while you're listening, you've stopped listening. You're not taking in that other person's point of view or their side. So that's a piece of advice. In my next video, I need a camera person to help me with that. So I'm going to enlist my daughter. She's going to be voluntold. I'm going to give you some household hacks. Things to do, how to clean smartly, not hard, how to clean it smartly. with natural products. One of them involves a lot of lemon juice, and I do wear gloves for that one. So if you have an issue with latex gloves, I will be putting them on for the next video, but I will put a warning in the description as well. I know I don't look that great today. I'm sorry about that. But it's just such a beautiful day out. I can't believe the snow is all gone. I'm so happy. So I've opened all of the windows, but of course that means that there are certain pollens in the air, and that affects my allergies. So that's one thing I'll be hoping not to get too bad this year, but I'm aware of them. Okay, another thing I'd like to talk about is why ASMR and how I found ASMR, because I'm also interested in how you all found ASMR too, and what you get out of it, because that's going to help me do better videos for you. Okay, so for me personally, I think I first knew I would get the tingles type of thing. It sounds ridiculous. At a food court, and we had a lady that would make the sandwiches, and she would fold the wrapper in such a way that I just felt like she cared. She wanted to make it perfect, and I would get the tingles. And then I was speaking to somebody once, I had a terrible cold, and they were telling me how to take care of it, but they had such a low speaking voice, and they're like, now you make sure you put some honey in your tea. And oh, the tingles just came. And then I kind of forgot about it. And then I happened to be watching a Brad Mondo video. He does hair, and he put on an ASMR darling video where she was cutting hair. And he said that he didn't get anything from ASMR, but boy, did I get it. So I looked up Taylor, which is ASMR darling. And it was fabulous. And that led me to find Lottie Loves ASMR, and Goodnight Moon, and Sophie Michelle, and Gloss and Tingles, Jeannie B, Ocean, Caterpillar, Whispered Red. Like, there's so many out there right now. And I started listening to them to help me fall asleep. And then I started listening to them. I have mentioned I'm having a mental health issue where I get very anxious and depressed, and I'm working on it. I'm working hard. I asked for help. I am taking medication. I'm also doing anything I can to help with my positivity and my mental upbeat, and I find watching ASMR videos help. And then I started thinking I could maybe do this, and I have had subscribers, and I've had people say they enjoy it, so I think I'm gonna keep going. I am an approval junkie, so if you'd like to put in the comments that you do like it and you would like to see more videos, please let me know. And if you have certain topics that you'd like me to talk about, I most certainly will. I met my husband later in life. I was in my 30s. I've spoken about the video I'm most proud of, and I feel bad because I have no comments on it, is the loss and gratitude. Because I do talk about the losses that we've been through. We had a very hard time conceiving at first, and then holding on to our babies. We lost 4 before we were able to have our daughter, and she's now 17. So, I know a bit about struggles, and if people want me to talk about that more, I have no problems doing that. One of the ways I got through my pregnancy losses was I had 2 very important people. One was a friend and one was my aunt, and they were able to share their experiences with me because I am older than everybody, and there was a time where you weren't supposed to talk about it. And I had somebody I worked with, Linda, she was wonderful, and she said to me one day, why wouldn't you tell people you're pregnant ahead of time before you hit the 3-month mark? If anything else happens, don't you want that support? And I thought, that's right. I'm doing a disservice to the people who care about me if I don't share when I need some support. because I'm the first one to volunteer support, why wouldn't I accept it? That's hypocritical. So that's what I want for you. I want you to be able to get the help that you need, to get support when you need it. Because I think a lot of times we don't think we deserve it. And I tell you now, you deserve it. You are worthy of everything. You are worthy of love. You are worthy of respect. You are worthy of every good thing out there. And I really do want that for you. Okay. So I will end it now with my preachy little voice. And I hope you all enjoyed this video. And I'm adding to my endings. I've always added 3 phrases. I'm adding a 4th today. And I'm going to keep adding it. So it will be my sign off on all my videos from now on. Okay? I love you. I value you. I honor you. And I'm glad you were born. Bye.